Disney Channel has given lots of amazing family-friendly entertainment, but things on the inside aren't always so happy. Stay tuned to find out which star serves time in prison for a major crime before he was on the Disney Channel. Do you love knowing all the cool facts and dark secrets about Disney? Don't forget to subscribe to The Things. Not So Best Friends. Hannah Montana is one of the most beloved Disney Channel shows of all time. It stars Miley Cyrus as a pop star, Hannah Montana, who tries to keep her famous identity a secret. Miley's best friend on the show was Lily, who was played by Emily Osment. Their relationship on the show was totally friendship goals, but apparently they were just really good actors. For most of the show's run, they hated each other. They fought all the time. In fact, Miley has said she didn't think that they could ever be friends. Miley attributed their bad relationship to her own insecurity. When the show began, Emily had a much more impressive resume than Miley did. They tried to be friends, but always ended up on each other's throats. They starred on the show together for 2 years before filming the Hannah Montana movie. There, they shared a totally sentimental moment over some baby birds found in the shed. Then they started to put aside their differences and eventually became really close. In 2012, Miley said that they love each other like sisters, but that they had a really bumpy start. We're just glad their issues didn't show up on the show. Bella Thorne's swimsuit. Disney has some pretty strict guidelines for their stars, and some of those guidelines have to do with their behavior outside of the set. Bella Thorne, star of Disney Channel's Shake It Up, was nearly fired when she was just 14. Why? Because she wore a bikini swimsuit. Bella was caught by the paparazzi wearing a black bikini with lace. Most people thought it was super cute, including Bella's mom, who bought it for her. But Disney Channel disagreed. They thought it was just too revealing and inappropriate. They threatened to fire her over it. Thankfully, Bella Thorne was so popular that they couldn't afford to lose her fan base, but they warned her that if she messed up again, she would be without a job. Can you imagine having that amount of pressure put on you as a teenager? And we're pretty sure any kid who has been to a beach or a swimming pool has seen way more revealing swimsuits. Honestly, we're glad Bella stuck it out and didn't get fired, because where would we be without Shake It Up? We're happy Bella has totally found success outside of Disney Channel and can now wear whatever swimsuit she wants. The Jonas Brothers. If it weren't for the Disney Channel, the world would probably have never heard of the Jonas Brothers. The pop band consisting of 3 brothers, Nick, Joe, and Kevin, got their big break by guest starring on Hannah Montana. After they became super popular on Camp Rock, Disney Channel gave them their own show. But even though they know Disney gave them their fame, the Jonas Brothers, especially Joe, have criticized Disney several times. Both brothers have talked about how embarrassing Camp Rock was, and Joe released a tell-all in 2013. He said that Jonas had terrible writing. He was uncomfortable having to act like a 16-year-old when he was 20. He couldn't even have a kissing scene. And Disney totally took advantage of the purity ring story, forcing them to change lyrics if they didn't vibe with the wholesome vibe Disney was trying to sell. They really felt like they didn't have any creative freedom. Joe has gone so far as to say being part of Disney was like being a perfect little puppet. Nick is glad to have creative freedom now, but he's been less outspoken since his brother. Regardless of any bad experiences, Disney definitely gave the Jonas Brothers a huge fan base that followed them into their solo careers. Breaking the mold. Being a Disney Channel star comes with a certain image that they have to maintain. And while they get a lot of fame, they also get stuck with the Disney label. It can be really difficult for Disney Channel stars to find other work in Hollywood. Hilary Duff, star of the classic show Lizzie McGuire, said it was 4 or 5 years before people started seeing her as something other than Lizzie. In 2015, Selena Gomez said it was difficult to get people to accept her as more than just a good little girl. Vanessa Hudgens is thankful for her time at Disney, but has said her time there really closed people's minds to seeing her as a more serious actress. Even heartthrob Zac Efron says he sometimes feels like nothing more than that kid from High School Musical. And in a 2017 interview, Dylan Sprouse from Sweet Life says how hurtful the insult former child star can be. All these actors are so much more than that. Overall, they are grateful for the opportunity, but also glad they left Disney behind. It must be terrifying to leave, not knowing if you can have success without Disney Channel. But Disney is really great at picking super talented actors, so it's no surprise that many of them have gone on to have awesome careers. Casting drama. That's So Raven was a pretty important show for the Disney Channel. It was the first to focus on a black family. It was the first to get more than 65 episodes, and it was just really funny. The characters had great chemistry, but the show could have been way different. Raven actually auditioned for the role of the best friend, but she was so great in her audition, they gave her the title role, and they changed the character's name. Can you imagine if the show had been about a psychic teen named Dawn? While that isn't exactly a dark secret, how Annalise Vanderpool got the job isn't quite quite so lighthearted. The role for Chelsea was already cast by another girl, but Raven convinced the producers to give the role to her friend, Annalise, which put the other girl out of work. We sure hope whoever that girl was went on to greatness. Honestly, we are super glad Annalise got the role. We can't imagine anyone else being Raven's goofy, devoted bestie. It still seems a little shady, but we all know success in Hollywood is all about who you know. Disney Channel is no different. There's no doubt That's So Raven would have been a totally unrecognizable show if the casting decisions were different. That's So Criminal. Speaking of That's So Raven, Annalise Vanderpool wasn't quite the innocent girl her character was. In July 2006, while That's So Raven was still on the air, Vanderpool was arrested for driving while intoxicated. Her blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. She hit a parked car, which then hit 2 other cars. Then she lost control of the car and hit another one. Luckily, no one was injured. She was charged with 2 misdemeanors and sentenced to 36 months of probation. She also had to pay a couple of $1,000s in fees and take an alcohol education class. Even though we love Annalise, we are glad she had some consequences. She finished out her role as Chelsea on the show, which ended in 2007. Even Disney stars can make terrible mistakes, and she's not the only friend of Raven who made a terrible decision. Orlando Brown was arrested in 2016 for hitting his girlfriend. He was arrested again in 2018 for outstanding warrants. Oh, Eddie, what have you done? Think that's bad? Wait till you find out which Disney Channel star committed a crime so bad he served jail time. Body image issues. Miley Cyrus was just 11 when she became the star of Hannah Montana. The show was super popular, and she became a celebrity practically overnight. We've told you about Miley's onset drama, but she is also very candid about how the role affected her personally. Every day, Miley was forced into a blonde wig and a ton of makeup, and she played a 16-year-old. Miley has said it has really messed with her body image, even giving her a bit of body dysmorphia. That's where a person becomes obsessed with a flaw in their body that may not even really be there. She was told what a girl is supposed to be like, and she had a hard time figuring out who she really is. She's definitely no longer like Hannah Montana. She's successful and controversial and outspoken. She criticizes Hollywood's definition of perfect and says she still struggles with looking at Instagram, wondering why she doesn't look like some of those models. But we all know a lot of those photos are enhanced. Being photoshopped and made up from a young age could seriously take a toll on someone. We hope Miley has a lot less issues with body image than before. A ton of spaghetti. There's no doubt that spaghetti is delicious, but did you know that it can be dangerous? Well, if a whole bunch of it gets dumped on your head, it can. Even Stevens was a super popular show starring Shia LaBeouf and Christy Carlson Romano in the early 2000s. One of the leading antagonists, Coach Tugnut, was played by actor Jim Wise. Coach Tugnut loved Lewis's older brother Donnie, but did not care for Lewis. Lewis Stevens' antics with strict Coach Tugnut were some of the funniest scenes. In the Even Stevens movie, Tugnut gets a ton of spaghetti dumped on him, like a lot of spaghetti. And you would think that spaghetti is pretty soft food, and it wouldn't hurt. Wrong. They probably should have hired a stunt double or given him a helmet. Jim Wise said it hurt so bad he had to stand on a chair under a scaffold where 2 guys had 2 large bins full of spaghetti. The impact of the spaghetti and the compression from the top of his head through his neck caused him to nearly black out. He was literally seeing stars from the hit. Yikes. We think we will just stick to eating spaghetti instead. Demi Lovato spirals out of control. In 2010, Demi Lovato, star of Disney Channel's Sunny with a Chance, made national headlines. She was on tour with the Jonas Brothers for Camp Rock 2, and she punched a backup dancer. Apparently, Demi was upset from getting in trouble the night before. She walked up to Alex Welch on the airplane and punched her in the face. Alex suffered a black eye and a bruised cheek, but no lasting damage. But the dancer felt hurt because she thought that they were friends. Demi was fired from the tour. She entered treatment for substance abuse, cutting, and an eating disorder. What Demi did was wrong, of course, but she was also struggling with some really dark issues. Her depression was bad, and her family and her manager got her into a rehabilitation program in Illinois for 3 months. Demi did not return to Sunny with a Chance, but has become a successful musician outside of Disney. We are so glad she got help, because that is a lot for an 18-year-old girl to deal with, and we sure hope she and Alex made amends. Demi Lovato has become very outspoken about mental health and getting help to fight those inner demons. Mr. Mosby's criminal record. You probably remember Mr. Moseby from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and The Sweet Life on Deck. Mr. Moseby, played by Phil Lewis, was the no-nonsense manager of the hotel and later a chaperone on the cruise ship. He was a hilarious character and really helped make the show successful. But the actor has a dark past. In December of 1991, Phil Lewis was drinking and driving in Maryland. He caused a wreck that led to the death of a 21-year-old woman. When he was arrested, his blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit. He was charged with vehicular manslaughter and found guilty. Phil Lewis served a full year in jail, and he also served 2 years of probation and completed 350 hours of community service. We know some Disney stars grow up to have been caught under the influence, but who knew Disney would hire someone with manslaughter on their record? We sure hope the victim's family is doing okay. We're glad Phil Lewis didn't just get away with it, but we're also glad he kept acting because Mr. Moseby is just too funny. Which of these secrets is the most shocking? Let us know in the comments. And those are the 10 dark secrets Disney Channel has been hiding your whole childhood. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more amazing content. See you next time.